Jody Reardon here. I'm going to take you through what a good quality warm-up and cool-down stretching should look like for a youth baseball program, youth baseball team. Nowadays, I think a lot of youth baseball programs, 11 to 12-year-olds, they're playing at a pretty high level. A lot of them are playing most of the year, depending on the climate that they live in. I know where I am, they're playing in the fall, they're trying to do stuff in the winter, and they're doing stuff in the spring. I'm not saying I agree with that necessarily, as long as they're doing something else. I think that's a good thing. But anyway, it's important to make sure that they have a good warm-up and they know what they're doing. 11 and 12-year-olds at this level, I'm basing it off of what we would call a travel ball team that have a pretty good idea of what they're doing, but it's something that you have to make sure that they're doing correctly so that it doesn't necessarily hinder their performance. We have a lot of kids at that level that think that they can do things that they can't. So the progressions here and the warm-ups are very important, making sure that they do things correctly. So the first thing I'd always like to start off with, I was a softball player with myself, and a standard warm-up would be jogging 2 laps around the field. So starting at either first base or third base, whatever side you're going to warm up on in the outfield, you're just going to jog 2 laps around the perimeter of the field. So along the warning track of the baseball field, then coming down the foul line and the baseline, touching home plate, and then coming around again. The first lap should be at about, I would say, like 30, 40, 50%, depending how far along you are in the season. If you're just starting, I'd say maybe 40% of your maximum speed for a jog. Then when you get into the second lap, we're looking at above 50%, maybe 60, 75% of sprinting pace, so that they can really get around and get the blood flowing, start to get a little bit of sweat going, get those muscles nice and loose. Now with this age group, you may have to pace them so that they understand what that is. So as the trainer, or as the strength and conditioning coach, or as the actual coach, you may want to lead it so that nobody's running after you and they're not sprinting the first lap and then sprinting the second lap. I know I teach junior high boys, and trying to teach them how to do the pacer test, they think they just sprint the whole thing. So getting them to learn how to pace is key. So if the first few times the strength and conditioning coach or whoever may be teaching them this would want to jog that with them. Then the next thing I would start after they get that good jog and bodily warm-up is basic arm circles. So with their arm circles, arms come straight out, and you can start forward or backward, whichever you like. You should probably do about 10, 15 in each direction. All right, and then you're going to make them a little bit bigger. Okay, a little bit bigger. And then until they're making full arm circles, so you have full range of motion in the shoulder. And you're going to do those a few times. Okay, making sure they keep the core tight and the body's not swinging all over the place. Keeping the core tight, feet a little bit more, or feet right at like hip width. And then after they've gone forward, they stop and then do the same thing in reverse, starting small and then gradually getting bigger and bigger, keeping that core tight, staying in place, and then getting as big as you can. If you want, you can even do, opposite motions, all right, if they feel as though they can do that, just to get the shoulders nice and loose, because obviously this is a throwing sport and they're going to be doing that pretty routinely. From there, you can start to get into some movement stretches where they are moving their body. I always like, especially in a sport like baseball, if there's a specific distance that you are traveling from base to base, I think it's a great idea to make the dynamic stretches that long. So you could line your team up on the foul line, and whatever stretches you're doing the full, in youth baseball, 60 feet to the next base. So the first one I would start with are just walking knee lifts, okay? And again, make sure, I'm trying to keep these as basic as possible because we do have young athletes doing these. These are all really common ones that we all know how to do, but some things to look for when kids are doing it. You're gonna take a step forward, pull up the left knee, grabbing right at the bottom of the knee here, and then pulling up to their chest as high as they can, keeping that foot flexed, all right? And then coming up, and then take 1, 2, 3, and then pull up, and go to the next one. Okay, when they get to the full 60 feet, then they can turn around and then begin the next stretch. But that stretch, again, looks like pulling up from the knee, keeping the foot flexed, getting that stretch into the glutes and a little bit into the hip flexor. 1, 2, 3. Next one, pulling up, knee to the chest. And then you do that for the full 60 feet. The next one you can do, and kids think that they can do this one really well, I do this with my classes a lot, are butt kicks. Biggest mistake I see when kids are doing butt kicks, again, they want to do things real fast and real quick, right? They're making really big, long strides with the butt kicks, you know, almost looking like some type of animal going through the forest here. But what to focus on with these kids is in that 60 feet, you want to get in as many steps as possible with the butt kick. So really focusing on the stretch in the quad there, and it should be quick feet. It should almost feel like you're running in place. So 60 feet is going to feel like a long time. But you want to go nice and slow, like this, okay? All right, quick kicks, just moving a few inches in between. Really getting the heel up to the butt, a little bit of a forward lean so you can keep yourself balanced. You don't want to be completely straight up. All right, but quick kicks, foot flexed, so the heel is really touching the butt, focusing on that quadricep stretch. The next one are high knees. Okay, again, another one where I see kids want to try and get as fast as they can along these 60 feet. This is another stretch. It really needs to be quick and in place, really pumping the arms with this stretch, getting the knees up. You can see my knees up as high as I can get it to my chest. My foot is flexed, okay, up in place, pumping the arms, getting nice stretches there in the back side as well. Okay, so that would be the next one that we're doing for the 60 feet. Another one that I like to do, get a good stretch in the hamstrings, are mummy kicks. And this is, again, a good basic one for 11, 12-year-olds. They like this one. They like that it's called, you can call it mummy kicks. What's important to focus on here is keeping the leg that you are kicking up in the air as straight as you can, but getting it to a safe distance. So we might not be real flexible, all right? Boys generally not as flexible as girls, so this is a good one to have them do. But when you're kicking, you're gonna kick, keeping that leg as possible, kicking that leg as high as possible for the stretch, keeping the toe pointed up in the air so the ankle flexed, all right? And we're gonna try and touch the foot. So if I'm touching the left foot, I'm swinging with my right hand, I'm trying to touch those as I come up. So a mummy kick would look, here goes my left foot, kicking up, and then I'd go 1, 2, 3. That takes me to my opposite foot, all right, and I come around this way, 1, 2, 3, right foot. Notice I'm getting my leg as high as I can, keeping it straight, getting good flexion here, moving along, keeping with the dynamic stretch, 1, 2, 3, kick. Now kids may only be able to get up this high. If they can't touch, that's okay. You don't want them leaning over. You want them to try to stay as straight as possible to help with the hamstring stretch. Then you come here, all right, and they do what they can. If as far as they can go is right here, that's fine, all right, as long as they're getting some type of hamstring stretch out of that. Next one, we're kind of progressing a little bit more, working a little bit more muscles here, is a lunge with a twist. Now, lunging for 11 and 12-year-olds, that is something that you have to teach. Okay, they may not understand the knee and ankle alignment for that, the 90-degree to bend in the knee, in the front and back. So again, I'm assuming that this is a youth baseball team, youth travel team. They have some experience with this, but some things you need to focus on. First, with the lunge, you're coming down. They're getting as low as they can, 90-degree bend here, 90-degree bend in that knee, okay? Not over the knee here and coming down low. It's not a simple stretch here. They're trying to get low. Now, the twist, you are going to twist back and forth. So I lunge here on the left, right, come up, bring out the right leg, left, right, come up. That gets me some trunk rotation in there. Obviously, swinging a bat, throwing a ball, we have trunk rotation. So you may not want to do the full 60 feet with this. You may want to say, okay, you have to do 5 on each leg and then jog the rest of the 60 feet. But again, you're here, left, right, getting down as low as you can. Good bend in the knees, getting that back knee almost all the way down. Right, left, coming up. Keeping the trunk straight. Let's make sure that when we're doing the lunge, back a little here, we're not coming over. Everything is in line. So I'm in line with that back leg here, staying up, left, right, okay? The next one is karaoke. 11 and 12-year-olds mostly know how to do this. If they've played other sports, if they play soccer, they probably use this. If they play youth football, I'm sure they use this warm-up. Remember with karaoke, you're going to face the same direction every time, so they'll essentially do this for 120 feet. So it'll go 60 one way, facing the same direction, 60 the other way. When we start with our karaoke, I apologize for my lights in the back. They're censored, so nobody's back there. They tend to be going off. Remember, we come over left and then back, okay, focusing on the left foot if we're traveling to the right. So the left crosses over, and then it comes behind. And we want to swing the arms as we come across. So again, if we're coming from the left, okay, left crosses over in front, right, left, right. It's a good rotation. Then we do the same thing in the other direction, where we're going with the right foot. So right, left, full speed here. Okay, really getting a good hip rotation, okay? Again, staying straight up, not leaning forward, getting a good rotation across the body. Next one is side shuffle with arm swings. Again, getting those muscles going. Knees bent slightly, okay, again, standing straight up. Start with a little bit farther than shoulder width. And as you slide, you're gonna be swinging the arms up and down. So it looks like this, all right? Still keeps the shoulders nice and loose. We're going 60 feet facing the same direction each time. So we get both directions. Good sliding back and forth. They don't have to get real low with it like you would a basketball slide. It's just a simple coming across, and swinging those arms up and down as they skip. The last dynamic stretch I would like to do with a youth baseball team, it's game simulated. I think it's good to end on this one, and it's like they're stealing a base. And you could even have, the strength and conditioning coach, the coach, coming from the pitching position. And whatever the rule may be, whether they have to let go of the ball or they have to be in their full motion, that's when it's going to begin. And you'll do 3 different sets of them, okay? They'll be at 50% of max, okay, so it'll be a nice jog. The second one will be 75% of max sprint, and then the last one will be an all-out sprint. And basically what that looks like is they're gonna get in their lead position, so whatever that may be, if it looks like this, when they see that movement from the pitcher, they're gonna go, and it's gonna be a quick jog. So you're looking for a nice, low explosive movement in those first 2 steps. This is the last dynamic stretch, so they're pretty well warmed up. So you're here, waiting for the movement, and exploding, bringing that back foot forward as best you can, staying real low in those first 3 steps, and then really lengthening out. So here, 50%, okay? You're gonna be running from the same direction, all right? Because that's the way that obviously you do in a game. So you'll come back, and then do the 75, or again here, and come in a little bit faster, okay? And then jog back. Last one is full 100% all out, okay? Where it's all the way, full power through the whole 60 feet, getting to that base. So here, and coming as fast as you can, all right? The first 2, especially, focus on the power move, on that first push off, on the leading stance, really pushing off and going. Then that last one is all out, straight steel, make sure they're moving. And then all those stretches, dynamic stretches, get you good and warmed up and can take you into your next throwing or hitting. Okay, and I'll show you both of those. Whoever is going to either place, I know a lot of practices are split. Getting everybody to hit at one time isn't really feasible. So I have 2 other sessions where I'll show you what a good throwing warm-up is and then a good hitting warm-up. It's important to remember here, if you're gonna go hit, there's no point in going and doing a throwing warm-up. So we always want to do those warm-ups before you're actually going to do the activities you're performing. Okay? Thank you.